And we're live!
Woo! I'm Kat West. I'm going first this time.
No, go ahead, Kat.
I'm a...
Ring up the intro!
Wow, I wasn't prepared. It feels fun. Nope.
Welcome to This Feels Funny. My name is Tyler Jones.
I'm Kat West.
And this is a silly podcast about real feelings.
We're going to talk with an attempt at authenticity about stuff that is kind of difficult to talk about.
Yeah.
And try to communicate our real feelings to you guys, but not take it so heavy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not take it so seriously.
100%. So what we'll focus on today is probably something along the lines of happiness.
Yes. The great quest.
And we say probably because...
It's probably still going to be sad.
Yeah, exactly. Let me adjust that level again real quick. There we go. We're all set. Cool. So, Kat, let me ask you a quick question.
Yeah, what's up?
When I was younger, I was told about the whole idea of the pursuit of happiness, right? And that's been a long time conversation amongst everybody that's been raised, especially in the millennial generations, right?
Yes.
So when were you raised on that similar kind of concept or idea?
Actually, no.
Okay.
And well, we can get into the actual end of the story later, but there we go. There was a burp. That's what happened. I don't think anyone would have noticed except me, but here we are.
You need to be better about that kind of stuff before we do the podcast.
I need to not be drinking bubbles. But my parents were much more focused on success. Regardless of the way that you felt about it. So
Sure.
being someone who gained success, and then I realized within my own self, I was like, but this isn't translating to being happy.
Okay.
Ooh.
So success and happiness are two very different things to you, as
Yes.
they should be to a lot of us.
Yes.
That sounds like a normal ass line of thinking.
Yes.
What do you think has changed over time for you?
Oh, that's a hard question. I think that I've realized that they're not totally separate.
Okay.
And that part of me feeling really, self-satisfied, the word happy can mean a lot of different things, but feeling that sense of accomplishment and feeling at peace with myself is coming from me putting efforts in towards things that I would like to be a success.
Sure.
And not obeying what society tells me is traditionally successful and looking at success through the lens of what do people term or define as success? And how can I find whatever quote unquote success and merge that with me feeling that sense of happiness? Gosh.
Yeah.
That word is a trigger for me.
I can understand that. And I can see there are probably things that make you feel unhappy, like the fact that I criticized you for burping on the podcast, and while you were speaking, I just burped silently.
Yeah, I kept talking so that he wouldn't have to worry about it. But you know what? Sometimes we make sacrifices, and it's okay.
Friend.
We be the bigger person.
Such a bad friend. But here's my thinking, though, and my curiosity. So this is actually interesting because you recently hosted a podcast, not a podcast, Jesus Christ, one of your shows at Sins and Virtues. It's been going really well. It was your second to last one on greed and charity. And out of all of the 7 deadly sins, I thought, man, that's got to be the weirdest one to get into.
Yes.
And then as soon as everybody went up there, you, the 2 poets, and the 3 comics that went up there and did well with it, particularly our friend Greg, really painted a clear picture of this success equals where happiness is going to come from. And we've been conditioned from the standpoint of make money, have success in your career, and basically everything seems to feel to bring you joy, as I was raised on too. And maybe from your standpoint, is being subservient in a way to, and serving others in a way, not subservient, but serving a way anybody but yourself.
Not being self-serving. Yeah.
See, this is why she's on this podcast. She summarized That was like it could have been an email summarization right there. I love that. Very good. Very good. It's okay. So not being self-serving.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's smart.
But then, I mean, so that I think that something that a lot of people didn't. I knew that the greed show would be weird, and I knew that it would be a harder one to get into because we
Yeah.
all, I feel like, especially, we're all in the jowls of capitalism right now. So like everybody feels this pressure to like just try to survive, and it can feel greedy now with things as they are. It can feel greedy just to need some of the things that are really just the basic tenets of human survival.
Okay.
And so we can move into a shame mindset where it's like just wanting these things that are very natural for anybody to want can go into that mindset of like, I'm being greedy for wanting that.
Yeah.
Especially because we're in such an individualistic society that's like, you should be able to achieve your own success for you, have your own source of happiness and all of your own things. So it
Yeah.
can kind of, it's kind of like hemming us into naturally having our innate human needs be seen as something that is greedy for wanting. When it's like, that's what everybody wants. We all just want to like feel safe and warm and have enough to survive. And like,
Yeah.
yes, there are people who want too much. And yeah, there are people, but like, it's actually
agree.
very reasonable to like, if you are having limited resources, if somebody comes up and asks you for some of them, to be like, no, I can't.
Yeah.
And that's not being greedy. That's just taking care of yourself.
It is. Yeah. I think that's reasonable. And from I've had somebody, I've said this an unreasonable amount of times though. And I know I just said the word reasonable close together, but I've said this just like a crazy amount lately, I feel. And maybe it's because it was just since your show, is this like making more money, for instance. I constantly hear everybody say like, are you happy with your job? Yeah, I could be making more money. Or like somebody will tell me like, I got a promotion. Are you going to be making more? Yeah, but I could certainly use more.
Yeah.
In my entire life of like progressing and progressing and progressing within this field that I have chosen to work in, more money happens, and then I'm like, okay, but more. I need more all of a sudden, and I'm like, I don't understand that, and it feels like greed, but at the same time, going away from the greedy portion of things, I know that they say money can't buy happiness, but I mean, it is like looking for a material object, or as even from a more like spiritual standpoint, they would refer to love for a material object, or as mammon, right? And from that straight up origins of our language and our culture, it's like, you will not worship this. And then all of a sudden now we look at an object or an accomplishment or anything extrinsic to be the paver of our path to happiness.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So what are some things that you could probably that you do on a day-to-day basis try to do? Like, don't hold yourself to any level of success. You don't have to. But what do you try to do to make sure that you're not treating happiness as a place to end up at, but as a place to enjoy along the path?
Yeah. So, I mean, the idea we had, I just want to say it for the audience, for this episode, is that like happiness, this idea of happiness not being a destination, and some of the things that I do with is it really one of the practices that I struggle with. Oh my God, it hurts sometimes because I don't feel it, and it can be hard to tell myself things that I know to be true for me when I'm in the midst of feeling a very different way. But just being grateful for tiny little things, you know, and I think it comes down to like the opposite. And I talked about this a little bit with greed, but like the opposite of scarcity is gratitude. So
the opposite of scarcity is gratitude.
So the opposite of like, I don't have enough, I should have more, I wish that I had something that I don't have, is I'm grateful for what I do have. I'm grateful that the sun's shining. I'm grateful that my cat is walking on my butt, and I'm grateful that I can move my body in this way. I'm grateful that I have all the things that I need in my house to make a breakfast. Like, and it can be really hard to sit in those things with a sense of gratitude when you do want more. But it's like, but being able to find the true, like, oh yeah, I am actually like, it's really nice to just look out my front window.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
And look out the trees and like, oh, that's really pleasant. That like makes me feel really warm. And like, okay, that's enough for right now. And it doesn't have to feel great. And it's not going to bring me this sense of like, you've done it, you've succeeded. But it's like just trying to find peace in those moments. because I think both of us are this. We have similar. That's why we wanted to talk about it. Viewpoints towards like being happy or successful, being a destination is just unrealistic, and it's not something that we are aspiring towards in our creative endeavors or like our like. It's like we want to create something because we want to create it.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
not like this. Making this podcast isn't going to make me happy. It's not going to be the thing that's going to, but it might help.
Yeah, no.
Like, holy shit, it might make me feel a little bit better about myself and my ability to like do things, but it's not going to be the thing like, say it pops off and you guys give us millions of views and we're super hyper successful, whatever. But like, is that going to change anything in my life? Is it going to change the view out of my front window? No.
Right. It's definitely not the measurement. And I like that actually. What you just said there was really vital. Taking this simple thing that I feel like to be grateful for that like almost can't be taken away from you.
Yes.
Right? You can't take away the view outside of my window. Mm-hmm. And I can find that joy.
I'm grateful to take a deep breath or to like feel in my body. Like nobody can take that from me.
Right. Okay, that's good. And so we have those moments of like simple gratitude that we can really appreciate day in and day out, time over time.
Yeah.
To remember that like it's not going, if this fails or does well, if this endeavor that I am pursuing, if I do comedy one night and I bomb, it's not going to impact my view out the window. It's not going to impact the love that I have for those around me, the support that I have from those around me. It's not going to affect the moose.
Now, I will say if I make enough money, I would potentially get a new apartment, and so the view out my window could change in that respect, but he really reminds you to be happy for the fleeting moments you have in front of you, because are they over? I don't know, actually. Because I think we're still sharing a moment with him right now. I don't know.
No, yeah, I'm on the same page though. I could absolutely have like more. And be like, yeah, this is great. I have the most amazing everything in the world, and I have this like beautiful view outside my window, and I like that a lot. But I mean, I think it is not about like the end game is the point. It's about like where we're going to go to get there and appreciating things along the way. So we had a couple of segments we wanted to hit with this. So in order for us to understand like happiness is this like destination, is not this destination. I'm sorry. We wanted to think about like some ins and outs. We did this like over the new year when that happened. So things that we're bringing into our lives and some of the things that we like to oust in our lives. And a way to think about that for you guys and just really for us is accountability. But before we'll do that, we're going to have a little word from a friend of ours that has some great advice. What's her name? She's your friend of yours, right?
Am I doing?
Not now.
Okay.
Yeah. No, she's going to come in.
Gotcha. Yes. We're going to hear from Alchemy Rising, who's going to give you guys some words of advice that you definitely need to heed.
If you're afraid to take action in your life, I tell people this all the time. I just think you haven't found the right crystal yet. And you need to go and buy one immediately. In fact, I also have a self-help course that I think would be instrumental in your personal development. I don't think that you need to change at all. No. There's nothing about you that should prompt reflection or alteration of behaviors. In fact, if you buy my course, it'll come with 5 crystals, and the likelihood of one of them being the right one for you is pretty high. I mean, it's probably going to fix you.
Okay, Kat. What was that?
I don't know.
About rock? So sure. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Just take what resonates,
Yeah.
Leave behind what doesn't. If that's everything, well, so be it.
She was deep in that shit. Oh my God. All right. Man. So for the ins and the outs, some of the things that I have made sure to let in for me, and I actually had a really nice experience with that this past week.
Okay.
Somebody that I am not particularly fond of reached out to me about something specific, right? Just hell yeah. Just casual ripping one.
Slide.
A little, yeah. It's slick. It's like
It's like a shirt sleeve. It's like a shirt sleeve.
I had a somebody that I'm not particularly fond of reached out to me recently about something, and they had wronged me. They had wronged some loved ones of mine, and I am going to be very vague about this and really just talk about the experience of it. What I've learned is if there's somebody that I just don't like, I am trying to take in a little bit more gentility towards them and more straightforwardness, and going out with the things that can gratify my anger or my annoyance or those negative, irritable feelings. So the mindset that I'm going by is, just because I do not like this person doesn't mean I need to act in a way that will make me less likable in the eyes of them or others, right?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Heard.
There it is. Okay.
That's all.
Cool. Just okay. Wait. No. Heard.
You don't like that?
No, I loved it.
I
But
heard you.
no,
I when I say heard, I mean like it deeply resonated. Unfortunately.
Yeah. No, I understand that.
Resonating.
But let me ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
On what planet is the sound you make when you?
Well, that's what I mean. When somebody really says something, instead of being like, ugh.
Oh, okay.
God damn it. You made me feel something about myself. I don't like that. Ugh.
Okay.
Heard.
Okay, that's good. Dude, because I get what
Ouch.
you mean, but it sounded like you were like, at my fucking help for myself.
No, it's a beautiful thing to think for
I'm
yourself.
sweating now. I just
But,
laughed
like,
so hard.
Ouch.
Fuck.
Ouch. Because that's often something that I notice, that like, I'm like, well, if this is the way that you treat the world, then like,
Yeah.
I can get out some of the ways I don't want to treat the world on you. And that's not the way that I want to behave within the world. You know, that's not the kind of energy. I mean, even if somebody is throwing at you these kinds of things, like being able to respond still as the person that you want to be versus the person that they are, even if they're like accusing you of whatever the energy is that they're bringing, not engaging in that energy.
Right.
And
exactly.
Yeah.
My only other in and out here in this case, really, and this is more so like it's in with balance and out with like holding on to things that are, and wondering, why is this causing me turmoil, anxiety, stress, etc. And I can do that by simply taking the things that I enjoy or that are a part of my life that are within my control. And what I've learned over time is that the thing that, if I'm stressed about X, usually it's because I am not putting enough energy into Y. So if I am, or Z, if we want to just make sure I'm not using the word Y. So, for instance, if I'm like, let's say I'm stressed about like this podcast, which I'm not, but if I were, I could say, okay, cool. What am I not putting enough energy into? I'm putting too much energy into this, so it's overloading my like specific part of the nervous system. So now I can pull away from that. So I'm trying to not so much stop focusing on something, but rather properly compartmentalize. So that way I'm not saying like, I need to focus on this thing because I need to reach a point of happiness or success with it. I need to actually think about like long term at the end of the day. Am I going to go to bed thinking I did the best that I could today and I know where I need to focus on tomorrow? So, yeah, I sounded like a self-help book just now, but fuck, it works for me. So that's just my share.
You did, but also I enjoyed it.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm really good at that because a lot of things make me feel that way.
I still can't believe it. Give me a couple of yours.
Okay, so like in terms of happiness not being the destination, one of the big things for me is the idea of creating art and enjoying the moment by moment process of making it versus thinking about what is this going to be at the end? Is it something that other people would appreciate, something that I'd be willing to market as a part of myself? And just actually, and this week I've done a better job of like, I've made a couple doodles, I've made a couple pieces of art purely for myself.
Good.
Only for me. That's who I made them for. And like many people talk about this idea of like the best art is made for you, not made for the audience. And that's kind of the same idea of like, be happy in what you have in that moment versus the destination of this becoming something beautiful, this becoming something that's worthy or super artistic or made from talent or whatever. So like just sinking, like the end being like just creating because I fucking want to.
I love that.
Making art because it feels nice right now and I want to. And it might look bad later. It might be something I burn. It might be something I throw away. It might be something I put on my wall and I cherish forever. Who knows? I won't know if I let myself get all caught up in what it's going to become or what it could be.
Right.
Versus sinking into the process of like, I just want to put paint on paper and like look at colors and go ding dong ding ding, ding and then like and then I feel better. And then
I love
like
that.
Yeah. And so out being like making things for other people's perceptions or obeying like the norms that other people have set and letting that put you into a creative box of what this is what people want. So that's what I must create, you know, and
That's
just being
good.
like, you know what? If people don't like it, it wasn't for them. It
That's
was for
true.
me.
That's a good perspective to have because, and you don't mean that like in a bitter way. Like this
No,
is, then it's not
yeah,
for you. It's
yeah.
more like, no, this.
It's just,
simply not for
if
you.
it doesn't resonate, then it's like, it's just actually not for you.
Yeah.
But that's totally cool because not everything's for everybody.
Yeah. I remember I had like a weird bit about that where I made the millennial versus Gen Z joke and a Gen Z apparently kid like hollered and said, that's not funny. That's not what it is. And I said, listen, I'm going to stop you right there. Remember, I know you might think this, but not everything in the world is for you.
Yeah, it's really not.
And if you're watching this, young man, person,
Fisticuffs.
I forgive you. But Kat doesn't.
Yeah, that's fucking right.
And it's
That's
over.
fucking right. I'll come for you, little Gen Zer. Can you say a full word? I didn't think so. You got to abbreviate it to one syllable. Full words, not for you. I guess multiple syllables, not for
man.
you.
Just getting down this shirt right now. Jesus Christ.
I have a whole bit I want to do. I'm like, all their slang, they make us feel like shit for not knowing. It's just because they won't say the whole word.
That is...
That's all the slang that it is with Gen Z. I'm tired of it. Say a whole word and then get back to me.
so,
Over it.
So out with
with
Gen Z
Out
slang.
with slang, okay? Out with, no.
The
I mean,
Riz
like,
on this one, am I right?
You could say charisma. It's a whole word. It's not even that hard. You add ka
Yeah, but my buddy Matt...
and then ma.
My buddy Matt, we're recording this on Easter Sunday, by the way, and my buddy Matt said Riz for the risen last night about Jesus Christ, and I don't think I've laughed that hard in a week.
So good.
Riz for the risen, am I right, dude? Shout out to Matt.
That's really funny.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to This Feels Funny. Again, my name's Tyler Jones.
And I'm Kat West.
And you can make sure to follow us on Instagram, This Feels Funny Podcast, and follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to all of our stuff. And
Watch us and listen to us and maybe laugh and maybe feel the feeling. I don't know.
and share it with your friends. That's the best way that things can get moving along. If you guys like, rate, review, share with your friends, the more traction we get, love it, keep going. The more traction we get, the better we can make this go. And I was like, keep going, and then I was
You're
distracted.
like clearly distracted.
Thanks for watching.